You know, Ruto has a very rich history. In 2022, when he was a candidate, he didn't want to hear any explanations from Uhuru about cost of fuel going up. Just listening to this.
The people telling us about Ukraine and Russia are also telling us that there is no shortage of fuel. They are also trying to blame oil marketers. So they are even conflicted in the reasons why we have an artificial crisis in the country. From their own statement, they are not sure of what to say. Is it because of the war in Ukraine, or is it because of the crisis with our oil marketers? Which is which? And that goes to tell you that this crisis is orchestrated, and it is as a result of the cartels and barons who have taken over, using conflict of interest and state capture in our economy. I mean, a straight answer would be, how come that fuel in Uganda is cheaper than fuel in Kenya? So, and yet the fuel being sold in Uganda goes through Kenya. That tells you that that kind of explanation is escapist and has no basis whatsoever. We should address ourselves to the crisis that is there in the country and the monopolies that have taken our fuel and economic sector captive.
Then the same fellow became president and shortly after told Kenyans he is working on a plan to make sure that the cost of fuel doesn't ever go up again. Here's the tip.
Hata ingawaje bei duniani kote imepanda, tunafuata vile inapanda na tumetafuta namna ya kuhakikisha kwamba tunaweza kuhakikisha kwamba bei isipite mahali ambapo Wakenya wengi wataumia. Mumeona kuanzia mwezi huu hiyo bei imeanza sasa kuteremuka. Mwezi ujao itateremuka zaidi. Mwezi hiyo ingine namna hiyo. Mpaka tuhakikisha kwamba tunamudu hiyo bei, ndio tuhakikisha kwamba tunaweza kuendesha mambo ya uchumi wa taifa letu kwa njia inayofaa.
And now as we speak, EPRA has announced a hike in fuel prices. Let me just read for you the letter that they released, and I quote, "In accordance to yada yada," let me just go to the second paragraph. "In the period under review, the maximum allowed petroleum pump price for super petrol, diesel, kerosene increases by 8.99 shillings and 8.67 and 9.65 per litre respectively." And this is across the country. You can see on the fourth part of this document, you can see Mombasa, they're at 183. Nairobi has been punished severely. It's operating at 186. Taita Taveta, it's 187, which is very strange. This is a county that's along the coastline where we receive the fuel, so it should be cheaper. Now here's what you need to know about this price hike. Number one, hii yote ni ukora tupu. Someone somewhere is quickly trying to profit from the Iranian/Israeli conflict. How so? A cargo ship ferrying crude oil to Kenya takes about 2 months to arrive. And this Israeli and Iranian war started a month ago. So it should take at least 1 more month before we start talking about fuel price hikes. Lakini hawa wamepandisha even before the said date. Hii ni pesa ya campaign inatafutwa na kifua, and a court order needs to stop this conmanship. A direct example is when we have an oppressive finance bill that is currently in deliberation and it is to be passed next month by the MPs who don't seem to care about what their constituents have to say. And then you find a vendor already increasing the prices even before the oppressive finance bill has passed. That is exactly what we are seeing happening here. We should be feeling the effect of the war between Israel and Iran in a month's time from now, not now. Someone is already moving before the traffic light says green. Hii mapato ya hii mwezi ambayo wanasanya mapema, where is it going? Number two, in Tanzania, fuel is retailing at 143 per litre. In Kenya, it's 186, especially in areas ambazo zilisema one term. Now, why the 43 shilling difference? Levies and taxes, of course, which have been added by the president. I mean, truly, hiki kundi ni ya conmen tupu. They removed fuel subsidies, increased VAT and other levies. They made SHA mandatory. They also raided people's pockets for another bogus charge called housing levy. And what do they have to show for it? 10 apartments which no one wants to buy. To be honest, this country is run like a kiosk. Na shopkeeper anauza stock vile anataka. Third thing worth noting, the US dollar is currently selling at 130 Kenya shillings. That's an all-time low in this current presidency. So we should be seeing cheaper prices at the pump. How can the shilling get stronger, the dollar gets weaker, but the price still gets greater? And the price is increasing ahead of even when we should be feeling the pain of what the Israelis are doing with the Iranians. Because Iran is part of OPEC. It does affect us. Someone needs to answer Kenyans. Having said that though, let's see what Kenyans had to say about this on X, and I quote. Innocent Moturi said, "So crude oil went down by 4.9 shillings, but our pump prices went up by 8.99. Kweli hii gangster to gangster deal will finish us." Kevin Mutura Mwangi said, "EPRA Kenya, why is the amount amount of tax paid by the consumer higher than what they have to pay for the actual product. The tax is over 100 shillings, but the cost of petroleum is below 82. Sub-Zero said, someone needs to go to court and stop these leeches. If we can't enjoy fuel drop, the government has no business increasing the price when the price go up over a 12-day war. Leads to bob hike. Fuel only went up for 4 days. Now we have to go back to spot trading. Remain Aman said, this is not good for all Kenyans. The government of the day is very inconsiderate. They're driving vehicles bought by our money, fueled by our taxes, so they can't feel any pinch. Clowns. Arap Terigin said, continue monkeying with Kenyans. You will soon get what you are desperately looking for. Yali Kilifi said, this isn't just a fuel price hike, it's economic violence in plain sight. Hefty taxes, zero cushioning, households are bleeding, businesses suffocating, parliament writes the script, treasury directs it, ordinary Kenyans foot the bill. Jasper Machogu said, taxes account for 51% of the fuel price in Kenya. Throughout the developed world, fuel and energy are subsidized. Cheap fuel is how you encourage economic development, industries, agriculture, transportation, etc. All rely on it. Stop arresting our development. But what say you guys? Do drop me your own comments in the comment section below and I'll do my best to read them and to give you a response. Now, in the event you're here for the first time, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button. And if you're watching for a different platform, just head on over to YouTube, search for David Wafula, hit the subscribe button. You're going to be getting a ton of content of this nature. If politics is something you're passionate about, this is definitely the one channel that you really need to subscribe to. Alright guys, adios. Thank you for choosing David Wafula as your primary news platform. We put countless hours in research, recording, and editing. By showing up each and every day to watch our videos, you encourage us to generate more videos for the viewers. We are on a mission to inform, educate, and build a better tomorrow. To our thousands of followers in a world full of presidents, kings, and queens, you are the real gem. Adios.